If you want more from your business life, let's talk a little bit about tools. Hi, this is Justin Hitt from Commercial Electrical Profits. And I'm not talking about like tools like people that are irritating. I'm talking about like tools that help you get the job done more effectively. See, very often technical people, they love just gadgets and tools and things that kind of increase their productivity, that make the job a little easier. You know, it's going from a manual screwdriver to your electric screwdriver, and you gain that productivity. Unfortunately, very often we tie that back to technology, meaning that going from a basic phone to a smartphone must make you in some way smarter. In fact, that's probably why it's called a smartphone, for the implied belief that having a smartphone would make you smarter. And the truth of it is that a smartphone is just like a tool, like a screwdriver. Okay, it's specially designed to help you achieve certain things in your day-to-day work life, but it is not a fix-all and not a magic device. It's just a tool. So when we get started today, I think it's very important that you understand that you are the tool manager, the user of the tool. You own or rule the tool. Let's say it this way simply. A screwdriver. I just pulled my pocket knife out to open something up here in a cabinet, and as I'm walking around the office, I do these audio because I use in between time. In between time, the best use of that in between time helps you get overall value. But what I'm doing here is I'm using a knife as a tool. The knife has no value, no use other than my implementation of it. The knife itself is neutral. The screwdriver is neutral. The device is neutral. Your implementation of that device is what gets you results and benefits. When you look at the ape experiments where they see apes using tools, and the ape uses a stick in order to get termites out of a log, the ape puts the stick aside afterwards. They don't carry it around with them for the rest of the day in case they need it again. They will find things in their environment to use what they do. Now, there could be some debate on whether you're no better than a monkey or an ape, but the fact of the matter is we have some similar behavioral traits where we have the use of tools. Now, if you are going to use a tool for something, you are going to use it. The tool doesn't use you. The tool doesn't notify you when it's ready for you to use. You make a practical decision. And as we move through time, the tools that would use to cut down a tree, to build a house, the tools that would be used to cook a meal for your family, those tools didn't notify you and say, hey, I'm over here, I'm ready to use me. Yeah, they didn't do that. They just sat there. They were neutral to the environment. Unfortunately, times have changed in some ways to have a marketing or a sales perspective where the use of the tool actually benefits a third party directly. In the past, when a tool would be used to benefit a third party, it would be indirect, and it would be through your efforts and labor and the application of that tool. Stick with me here. This is not a complex topic, and the bottom line of it is that if you're going to carry a cell phone, and this cell phone or telephone on your desk is going to practically benefit both you and the person on the other side, then there must be some practical decisions made about who is going to rule the tool. Basically put, if the telephone rings, is it ringing for your convenience or the convenience of the person on the other side? This is very important and is the foundation of something we're going to get to when we talk about smartphones. First off, the phone rings if you are available to answer the phone, and as time has designated that the phone is the best use of your attention, then by all means, pick up the phone. By all means, lift that phone up and address what's going on the other side. But if right now you're doing something where your attention is of greater value, perhaps you're writing a sales letter, perhaps you're completing a proposal, then answering the phone is actually a distraction. Now remember, same phone, same ring, but now it's a distraction because your attention is focused on some high value activity to which taking your attention away from it would then be a detriment to your individual position. Now, answering the phone could be a benefit to the person who called because they may want to talk with you, but what they want and what you want must align in order for it to be a mutually benefit interaction. Now, this is very important because a lot of folks say, well, the phone rang, I must answer it. Well, Pavlov's dog salivated every time it heard a bell because it was trained that way. And inadvertently, we very often train ourselves to have certain behaviors that feel right, but are not productive for our long-term benefit. Let's talk about one such behavior. Telephone rings. You feel immediately compelled to answer the telephone. Does that mean that answering the telephone is the most important thing for you to be doing right now? No. You must make a decision. And a choice about where you're going to focus your time. Now, if you do this in advance when the telephone rings, you aren't compelled to answer it because you know that you're spending the best and most productive use of your time right now in what you're doing. Now, even more importantly is if you made a decision up front that you are going to focus on a specific activity because it is a high value activity, then when that telephone rings, it may not even ring at all. You might have put it on mute. And that's what I'm asking you to do right now, is to put your phone on mute, because if what I'm providing you today is not the most critically important and powerful thing for growing your business, for helping you get to from where you are today to where you want to be, then you should leave. You shouldn't pay attention to me at all. In fact, if your telephone rings and that is the most important thing you should be doing, then you should be on the phone already addressing those issues that could come in by the phone. This talk right here, I'm going to have to refine it because I don't think not everybody's going to get it. The fact of the matter is if you want to be successful, you've got to focus your insights, intelligence, your efforts on the most important thing for your time right now, the most valuable and highest important thing for this moment, contrary to everything else around you. You won't get results in life unless you give those the attention up front. If you don't give the attention up front, you won't be aware of situations that you can benefit from. If you are constantly distracted by the world around you, you'll never focus on the world that matters most, which is your world, your family, your community. It's great, all this stuff going on out there, and you can learn about it every minute of the day using your smartphone. You can feel informed. You can feel knowledgeable. You can feel like you're connected to something. But if you're not connected to yourself and what goes on in your own mind, you will not and cannot get the results that you deserve. The bottom line, folks, is if you cannot control your smartphone or your employees or the telephone on your desk or simple attention, then how will you gain the success that you desire? Period. Listen to this again. And I know I covered a lot, but the bottom line is you must decide right now if the things in your life that help you get the results, those tools, are going to rule you or will you rule them. First thing you can do when you meet a client is say, if you don't mind, I think this is a very important meeting. I am going to turn off my cell phone. So you're doing many things here. So I gave you the concept. The concept is that you are in control of the tools around you through your decisions, not only decision of activity, but decision of focus. And where you focus and act is dependent on where is the highest value of your time. So here's the application part. You're going to meet with a client. You're going to make it clear to them that they are the most important thing right now. And they are not only the most important thing right now, but you're going to take certain actions to prevent interruptions and go one step further. This meeting between you and me is the most important thing of my day because I want to help you solve a problem. You explain to them why. I want to help you solve a problem. And because it's important, I'm going to turn off my cell phone. And what I ask of you is to do the same and close the door so that we can have 15 minutes to make sure we get a solution that's going to solve the problem that's brought me here today. Now think about this. This is where ideas, that float around and they're very exciting and interesting and concepts come together into action. And this could be an appointment with a client. This could be a retention call. This could be a customer appreciation event. When you open the door to the customer appreciation event, you say, folks, we have you here today at this dinner to celebrate you as a client for our organization and for us to show our appreciation to you as a customer. But here's something I asked of my employees because it's very important that we are able to focus on your needs and understanding and really say thank you. So I've asked my employees to turn off their cell phones. In fact, they don't even have their cell phones with them. And that is so that they can focus on you. The only thing that I ask is that we can share this mutual respect. And that if you have to make a phone call, that just please take it outside. And that during dinner, that everybody just sits down and gets to know each other and connects so that we can share with you how appreciative we are of your business. Simple concepts. Cell phones, phone on your desk, smart applications. The environment to which you work in must be tailored to your needs and desires and your long-term benefit. The other people who come to you that want to interrupt for their reasons, you'll gain greater results when that interaction benefits the both of you. So the whole thing about Yung Torah is that we are mutually beneficial relationships. And you can't have a mutually beneficial relationship when someone has interfered with you focusing on the most productive use of your time. Simple concepts. The tools in our environment are neutral. The computer, neutral. Computer doesn't do anything unless you type on it. Now, the computer can be programmed in advance to do things. And just like you can program the computer in advance to do certain activities, you can program your environment around you to have certain activities. For example, if you are focusing on a very important meeting, you can turn the ringer off of your phone. Now, I don't always do this. You hear these audio programs in the background, somebody's ringing the phone. It's ringing off the hook. I could solve that by having a remote person who answers the phone on my behalf. When I had my secretary here at the office, she would answer the phone on my behalf, take a message. I could go to a recording studio and focus that time. Now, I use in-between time to do these audios. And I have to control my interactions. So what I've done is made sure that I have caller ID. So I designated time to do the audio recording. And if you haven't noticed, many of these audio recordings are draft. So they're not super high priority on the list. It's just important to get the materials down so that they can be transcribed and that they can feed other publications and marketing channels and memberships and stuff in my rest of my program. So you hearing this audio is actually a draft, and it will get transformed into many things. So what you need to find in your business, a lot of folks tell me they don't have time to write personality-related content. Great. Carry an audio recorder around with you. Record 5 to 10 minutes of audio, have it transcribed, have somebody else process it. You do that in between. You could do that when you're doing your morning walk. You can do that when you're starting to move around. So I've been sitting in a chair for probably an hour and a half. I went to go look for a notebook. I grabbed my audio. I carried it with me to go look for a notebook. And now I am probably 14 minutes into this, and I'm going towards the conclusion. See, this is about application of your time, energy, and focus. There is no time management. Time is going to keep marching on whether you're paying attention or not. So what I have done is I've incorporated certain activities that are going to extend my marketing. I use the tools that I have to expand that, and the tools now become workers of me. And the last analogy I'm going to give you is what connects this whole thing all together. If your cell phone is a tool, your smartphone. I'm using smartphones for example because I'm starting to notice more and more people stand there just looking at their phone. They're just twittering away, or they're using these tools compulsively, and it's a psychological thing. It's not something where you're broken. It's just something that you've gotten used to. It's a behavior, an ingrained behavior. All I'm asking is that you replace those behaviors with behaviors that are more productive for your long-term benefit. But here's the last analogy. Cell phone, people tell us today how computers have replaced employees and how computers can do things that it very often took many people. So let's think back in our mind and imagine that the computer is a person. So the typing of a letter, you typing a letter in a computer, it would be dictating to an individual in the past, okay? So now we have a equal correlation between the computer and a person. If your computer today that bings every time a new email message comes in was a person who every time mail showed up at the office would come running over to you with the mail and say, oh, look, you got a letter from Bob. Oh, isn't this great? You got a bill from the cable company. Oh, no, this is awesome. You got a note from your mother. You know, that would be annoying. You just wouldn't do that. Yet people allow their computer to interrupt them throughout the day with new chat messages, new emails, new texts from people. The same thing with their phones. So how would you handle the human situation? If a person came to you in your office and with the mail and said, look, and they started reading everything on the list and told you all about all the things that happened, what would you do to address that situation? Well, very often you would tell the person, look, the letter from my mother, very important. If you get the mail and there's a letter from my mother, then you can interrupt me and I will address it. Otherwise, the bills go to accounts payable, the checks go to accounts receivable, and the white mail goes into a file which will be reviewed once a week. See, you would establish boundaries that benefit your objectives, that move forward your goals. You wouldn't allow that to happen. So the same thing must happen with computers. The computer is nothing more than a tool. Now, I'm not saying the employee is nothing more than a tool, even though you might have some tools of employees. But the bottom line is, folks, it is your response to the stimuli that makes a major difference, and that response is impacted by your focus, decisions about what actions you're going to take. And before we just close this out, if you want freedom to make choices in life, monetary is important. But you can have all the money in the world, and if you can't make a decision to utilize the tools around you to your benefit, to govern situations and interactions through the framing of environment or context in which you define, then all the money in the world will never help you, will never take you to the next level. This has been program J0929A. It has been about your focus, and I hope that you've stayed focused through this program so that you understand that you can monitor and maintain your environment so that it is beneficial to your success and your long-term results. You deserve that opportunity to make a decision and choice about how things work around you. If you have questions about this or any other program that I present, you're always welcome to fax us at 757-282-7779. Be sure to mention that you've listened to program J0929A. I'll be happy to answer your questions, but it is really about your focus and about focus on what's most important to you. And I want to thank you for your focus throughout this program. And I let you know we're here for you. And I'm Justin Hitt, helping you create key profitable customers and turn every business relationship into profits guaranteed.